I saw a post from you on X, a tweet, a post on X from 2020 where you had outlined what you thought would happen with Bitcoin through 2042. So, I mean, that was a long time out. You're talking 22 years, right? You're sort of thinking about that.
Right.
So, obviously, you're thinking about some sort of cycles in order to sort of predict that 22-year movement of that. So, how do you think about those cycles? Like, what's really driving that? A lot of people thought it was a Bitcoin 4-year halving cycle. A lot of people say global liquidity cycle. Some people say the business IM cycle. Maybe it's ISM. Maybe it's all of those things. But how are you thinking about those cycles to drive that 22-year narrative or vision that you had?
Yeah, I think Bitcoin roughly operates on 4-year cycles, but I don't think it's based around the halving. I think the halving does have some impact. I'm not saying that it has absolutely zero impact, but Bitcoin does not have a monopoly on the 4-year cycle either. If you look at the S&P 500 and go look at the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, you'll see we had lows approximately every 4 years, right? You had one in 1982 and in 1978, 1974, 1970, 1966, 62, and the list goes on, right? You just go back approximately every 4 years and you can find lows in the market. So a lot of people are under the assumption that Bitcoin operates around a 4-year cycle because of the halving, but it's probably a lot more complicated than that. It probably is a combination of the halving, but also a combination of other things that you mentioned, like liquidity, um, like the presidential election cycle perhaps has some influence on the market as well. Uh, but I think regardless of what it is, I think if you just look at Bitcoin's price history, you can see that it has a low approximately every 4 years. Now, I don't expect that to hold forever, right? Like, I don't think that we're going to be able to look back at this in 100 years and find that every 4 years Bitcoin had a major low. I think there will be something at some point that kind of takes it off of that, where something else happens. But I don't think we've entered into that, and I think it's better for people to not fade the 4-year cycle than to constantly try and fade it. Because you have to ask yourself, is it worth fading it every single cycle just on the off chance that you happen to be right? When history shows us that it's much more likely to keep occurring than to take a detour. Even though at some point we likely will take a detour, it's better to just kind of assume the status quo remains unchanged until proven otherwise, which means that the next low for Bitcoin should occur in 2026. I just think it's too early for that to occur right now, right? I think February is far too early for Bitcoin to find a low. And what's interesting is if you look at the prior midterm years, basically every midterm year we had a major low in the month of February, but it never ended up being the low, right? So I think that it's premature to call for an end to the bear market as of February 2026. Depending on what happens going into April and May, which is kind of that next window of weakness, you could have a low as early as May, but my guess, the most likely outcome is that Bitcoin's low would probably be sometime in the fourth quarter of the year. My guess would be maybe in say October.
And that's just based off of cycles alone, because obviously there's a lot of fundamental things that could change that.
Right. I mean, I think if Bitcoin were to drop, like if Bitcoin dropped 50% in like the next couple of months or something, then I don't think I would wait until October to call the bottom. Uh, but if you look at, like, for instance, if you look at the year-to-date ROI of Bitcoin and compare it to the average of prior midterm years, and if you want to overlay one standard deviation to that average, you can see that Bitcoin is basically just following the average of prior midterm years, right? Like it pops up early in the year and then it sells off into February, and then it goes sideways for a while, gets a little bit of a renewed interest in early March, they get sold off again, and then on average, Bitcoin just goes sideways for most of the rest of March, and then it drops into the April and May timeframe. So for me, this is playing out how it always has, right? Where you get that, you top in the fourth quarter, you sell off, and you get a normal midterm year bear market. What really tripped people up this cycle was that this is the first cycle arguably that Bitcoin topped on apathy rather than euphoria. So if you look at the social interest of crypto, this orange line, it's basically just been trending down since May of 2021. So if you color code Bitcoin's price by social interest, you can see that we topped on apathy kind of like we topped in 2019 on apathy. Um, and they have a lot in common because in 2019, Bitcoin topped in June, 2 months before quantitative tightening ended in August. And this time, Bitcoin topped in October, which was 2 months before quantitative tightening ended in December. So I think from a macro perspective, the current drop more so resembles the 2019 top. Also, it's important to note that in the 2019 top, there also was no rotation from higher or from lower risk assets to higher risk assets, right? So after Bitcoin topped back in 2019, there was no rotation into altcoins, just like in 2025, there was no rotation into altcoins. And earlier this year, when gold got a correction, there was a lot of people that thought, oh, well, maybe that'll rotate into crypto. But in a late business cycle environment, we don't really rotate from lower risk to higher risk. What you see throughout a late business cycle environment is that high risk assets rotate to low risk assets.
Now you mentioned the 2019, and that's like the mid-cycle high. That's not the high of the cycle because that's not on the 4-year cycle. So you're
Right.
saying right now what we just saw is more like to 2019, but the 2019 was a mid-cycle high versus now would be end of cycle high.
Right, exactly. I think that, I think that sort of the downturn that happened after the 2019 top is similar to the downturn that started in October of
Mhm.
2025 and that will last for a majority of 2026.
Right.
Um, and you can even see that this last bull market by Bitcoin was mostly just a Bitcoin driven bull market. This chart is the advanced decline index of the top 100 cryptocurrencies. And so when people think of like a crypto bull market, a lot of people think about what happened in 2020 and 2021. And back then, you could basically buy anything and it was going to go up in value, right? You can see this line was generally going up in 2020 and 2021. There was just so much money floating around. Everyone was, making money on a lot of random altcoins. And so I think a lot of people thought that the next bull market had to be similar to the one in 2020 and 2021. But in fact, the next bull market was more so similar to the one we had in 2019, where the advanced decline index, just also continued to drop. So basically, we had a bull market that was led by very narrow leadership. And then once that narrow leadership entered into a bear market, it then exposed the underlying weakness that already existed in the altcoin market. It's just people didn't know necessarily it existed in the altcoin market because Bitcoin was sort of keeping these other things afloat. But the reality is when you look at the valuation of altcoins against Bitcoin, this chart right here, you can see that altcoins have been devalued against Bitcoin since January of 2022, right? Like they just continue to drop, and there hasn't really been a rotation back out of Bitcoin into alts.
Yeah. If we go back to the chart that you were showing earlier, how the 2019 was similar, the top of 2019 was similar to the top that we've had recently. And I think about that chart specifically. I mean, you know, I'll I'll admit, I mean, I obviously publicly said, I did sort of start buying into maybe the 4-year cycle was sort of dead, partly because of obviously, as the law of diminishing returns, right? Each halving cycle, the amount of supply restriction is diminished, so it like has less and less to do with it. Also, it's like
Right.
in 2021 at the peak, it was when Jerome Powell came out and announced that they were going to start raising rates in the fastest rate in history, and now we're lowering rates. So it seems like, well, we're not raising rates, we're lowering rates. And the
Right.
supply isn't really going to matter that much. Maybe it is dead, but then sure enough, right on cue, approximately 18 months after the halving, it sold off right in October instead of November. So
Right.
I agreed with you, and I also said until proven otherwise, it's sort of in effect. But it looks like here we are. A lot of people maybe still don't even want to admit that. I still see a lot of articles coming out from pretty smart people saying that, the 4-year cycle is dead, even though it shows it sold off. I mean, how would you answer that?
Yeah, I mean, I think people always want this time to be different, but when you look at the number of days that the last cycle ended up being from the low, it ended up being 1,062 days. Okay. The cycle before that one was 1,059 days, and the cycle before that one was 1,068 days. So Bitcoin literally topped within a week of where it topped in the two cycles that came before it. So when you look at a chart like this and you then extend it to the next low, I have to look at this objectively and just say, well, the next low is probably going to be somewhere over here, right? Not now, but several months from now. Um, the people that are the people that are saying that it's different this time, look, anyone could be right. Like, I don't, no one fully knows what's going to happen in the market. I'm not going to pretend like there doesn't exist a universe where something different happens. I just think it's far more likely that we just simply have a bear market like we have every midterm year, you know? Um, and if I'm proven wrong, then I'm proven wrong. I would say I'm probably around like 70 to 80% confident in my view that that is how this plays out. And so because of that, I ended up selling off that approximately that amount of my Bitcoin stack last year, right? Because I didn't want to sell off all of it in case the super cycle guys were right, but I wanted it to sort of reflect my thought process. Like the odds of this being the cycle top seemed kind of high. And so I wanted my investment portfolio to reflect that. And the problem is that the problem with Bitcoin and over the last year or two is not necessarily its USD valuation, but it's going down a lot on other valuations, right? Like its gold valuation is the same level that it was back in 2017. So you're talking about 9 years ago. Um, I think that's the bigger thing. And so for me to really get confident again in Bitcoin, I'd like for a few more months to go by just to see that time-based capitulation component play out. Because I think you're right. I mean, I think there are a lot of people that don't believe it's a bear market. And I think ultimately people, in order for the bear market to be over, usually everyone has to give up. And once everyone gives up, then we bottom and then we go up. And last cycle, that ended up being the FTX capitulation. I don't know what it's going to be this cycle, but usually it takes more than a few months for things to play out.
Yeah. You said something there that I want to go back to. You said that you had about a 70% probability, which, so everybody listening here, anyone who tells you that their prediction of where a price will go in a time, or tells you where they think the price will go in a time, but doesn't give a probability, don't really listen to them. And so he gave us a probability. But going back to what you said, you gave that about a 70% probability. So it's not 100%. You don't think it's certain, but it's 70%. But what I want to go back to is you said, so then you wanted your portfolio to reflect that.
Right.
Let's double click on that. So how do you think people listening to that should understand that? Like, okay, then I should be allocating towards my percentage of probability. I mean, that's how you sort of address it.
Yeah. I mean, so like last year, I sold off, a decent amount of the Bitcoin. Um, I was much more bullish on metals and some of the other sectors that tend to top last in a late business cycle environment are things like energy, right? So if you look at every prior midterm year, Bitcoin drops against gold, it drops against the S&P 500, it drops against the energy sector, right? So you look at Bitcoin's valuation against XLE and look at yearly candles. So this is the way I do it, right? Like I don't like I'm not necessarily an expert on energy stocks, but I can look at a chart and just be like, all right, like every midterm year, Bitcoin drops against energy. 2014, 2018, 2022, and here we are in 2026. So these patterns just repeat themselves. And so what I've said before is that in midterm years, as it relates to crypto, you're far better off just assuming it's a bear market and preserving your wealth, right? Trying to protect what you have so that by the end of the year, you can then make a long-term investment again in the asset class and then enjoy the next bull market. The problem is a lot of people just go all in at the top. And then they scream the entire way down that we're in a bull market, and then it just ends up being a bear market. So what I try to do is in midterm years, rather than just twiddle my thumbs and wait for the bull market to come back in crypto, I invest in I invest more heavily into other areas. And so that's what I do,
Uh-huh.
right? And then I normally prepare before the midterm year arrives. Like I'll get more interested in those areas ahead of time so that then there's something I'm looking at in the midterm year. Because otherwise, midterm years are pretty boring if you're only following what Bitcoin is doing.
Hey, if you like this short conversation I just had, you're going to love the full length conversation. Don't miss it. You can go ahead and click right over here, and I'll see you over there.